Mike Nobis, an old friend of mine. I grew up with his son, Tom, and we are asked he's looking for and what he expects other businesses are looking for when it comes to jobs, which you should be wearing, things that we've been doing for the last few weeks. But today we will be talking with Mike Nobis 101. So I'm going to switch the camera over to Mike. All right, make sure I got it there. There, it looks better that way. All right, so this is Mike Nobis. Mike Nobis, let's see, how long has JK been around?
Since 1907, so what is this, 111th year, something like that.
Ah.
Yeah, been around a while.
Oh, jeez. So anyway, this is my old friend, neighbor, buddies, Mike Nobis. Growing up and everything else, I've got to experience, the nicest guy in the world. His family's been nice. I got to meet your dad and everything many, many times. Got to ride around in the golf cart many, many times. Always giving back to the community. Always trying to help younger kids, military, get ahead in life. Basically, what we do here, we're just kind of go. I'll ask you a few questions and then just go by ear, because we want to know firsthand when people are going and looking for jobs. What are you looking for? What do you think the community's looking for? How are they supposed to appear, dress? Common sense questions. I think we've gotten away from a lot more to a lot more of the not going to down it, but political correctness of life. We've gotten away from common sense. Look nice, dress nice, be polite, be courteous. Real quick, just tell me about JK first, in your business, and how it came about, and how many genres you guys are
Okay.
kind of through now, if that's okay with you.
JK Creative, which is actually was started out as Joseph Kiefer Printing. It started in 1907. It started out as a commercial printer, has been all its life. Actually, there was another printing company before them, which was called the Monarch Printing Company, which was in 1898. So we've been in the printing business a long time. I've not been in it the whole entire time, but it feels like I have. But I've been in the printing business for about 43 years, and and then sent out the products and distributed to all their distributors or their sales force, whatever. So we're quite diverse in what we deal with. Our skill levels that, and you talk, get through the real nice, actually say what you're trying to do. But that's just what we do. She's very personable. If you talk to her when you walk in the door, our idea is we want this to be a safe place to be. When you walk in, you say, "Wow, okay, these people seem to welcome me, and we're interested in what they do." Um, you've had a lot of experiences either in stores or whatever, care about, at least they put off the present or they're on the job. And you can figure those out real fast. A lot of times you're looking for, especially if you're looking for an employee to help you in the store, there are those that have yes faces and those that have no faces. And we try to emphasize, and I'm looking for the yes face person when they walk in. If it's no, then I don't go any farther. So again, that first impression is really, really important.
Right. Let's touch base on real quick a little bit, and with you, I think I got to change up my question a little bit, because application compared to resume. But since you have a lot of writing involved, you would probably prefer somebody to write out an application probably when they come in here. Would I be wrong on that
It
one?
really
Or
depends on the position or sales, those type of things. Then that's a whole different type of interview process. But most jobs in Quincy today are, and what most of us are looking for is those people who are retail oriented, customer service oriented, factory. But again, factory, even though you're in the factory, you still have to do an awful lot of communicating. And so, a lot of us employers are looking for that ability. Um, I do a couple things. Sure, I like to see resumes. Resumes don't really tell me very much. They'll tell me what you want me to know. They're usually hyped up quite a bit. I have two sources that I can tell real quick if the employee's right. Number one, I have an application that I want you to fill out. That application basically tells me, because of the questions I'm going to ask you, and few of them are just check marks, or fill in your name. I do ask you questions, mainly because I'm not necessarily as concerned about the question as do you have the ability to write, do you have the ability to communicate. You know, a person who will difference. Um, but I'm looking for somebody who has a lot more personality, and I think a lot of customers today, a lot of our employers today are looking for someone trained means it's going to be personal, it's going to be who we coached, and you can tell that pretty quick from that interview.
That's awesome. Something I was thinking about, you and I actually had a conversation the other day, and I haven't even asked you about this one. I guess I probably should have put it out there. How important is with today's technology, social media, when you're going out to find a job, and not just for you, but for anybody, even if it's just the manager looking to hire on? How important is their social media, and what happens if they have it actually closed down to you? I know it sounds weird, but we live in such a open society nowadays. Everybody puts everything out there. I mean, if you're going through there and all of a sudden, does it put up warning signs, whatever? If somebody's like, "Nah, I don't want to give you my social media," do you kind of worry about that, or just because I don't even know how to really word the question yet, because I was kind of thinking what we were talking about. It was made a lot of sense that people are looking at who you are. You probably put more of who you are online than you do what you're going to say
That's
to a
true.
job employer.
Like I say, one of the first things I do is the application, which I want to know. When we get to the point where I'm really interested in an awful lot about a person, what they think about Facebook, it is what's going to follow you for the rest of your life. Yes, you think you can delete it, whatever. No, online and check your social media. I like to take a look at the pictures. The pictures tells me what I actually see them doing. If a certain person and I'm interested in, their language is terrible, they use the wrong, bad language and stuff, I'm gonna not do that. And it's amazing how many younger employees or potential employees, just, they don't take consideration as to what they say, how they say it, who they're talking to, pictures they put up. And you have to also realize too, that when you come to work for me, or you work for work for somebody else, your image is also then stamped on as my image. And there's a lot of times I walk into stores and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this person is the face of this particular store. The owners or whoever would not be happy with that. And it's not a very good thing that if people know that a certain person works for me, and yet they're spewing all kinds of stuff out on the internet, I'm not going to be real happy about that. And so I look for that first. One of the things I look for after the application, but also it can keep you from keeping the job, and you got to be really careful. Of course, the third thing is really hard, important. We do a drug test, and our state is now moving into what do you call casual marijuana and stuff. We're still going to drug test. Most employers are going to drug test, and it might be legal to do. It's just not smart to do, and students really have to be very careful about how that works. And because employers, we have a lot of liability, especially when it comes down to workers' comp and stuff. Can't afford to have any of our employees hampered in any way. And that goes right along with alcohol, you name it. We watch that pretty close. And social media will tell me that a lot, what they like to do. And because if you can't come to work because you're impaired in some way, or you go out and you're doing something else, you get hurt, and you can't work for 6 months, I'm in trouble, because now I have a very important employee that I need to have that now can't work. Most small businesses don't have the luxury of having 2 or 3 people who can do the same thing. Normally, if you only got 5 employees and you lose one who does a very specific thing, you're really in trouble. And those are very common problems, but those are the things we also try to defend ourselves of as we hire.
Okay. Last I'll touch on this was just real quick. Vocational compared to college, compared to military, they all three have their positives. And I know a lot of kids when they coming out of college. I started what I do now with talking with people, great people like you, is for the military when they're coming out, they're transitioning into the workforce. It's not that they don't have the skills; it's they're worried they don't have the college or the experience in a different business, so they don't go and try for those businesses. And I've come to find out that they're the perfect person qualified because they can take, not, I don't want to say orders, that kind of sounds bad in the civilian world, but they take instruction very well. They know how to get a job done. They can work well by themselves, and they can lead people in there. Compared to a college kid, who I don't look at a college person as being bad. I just look at them being young, what we say, wet behind the ears, they're so young. So when they get out of college and they're expecting, oh, my degree is going to get me that $1 million job, they get disappointed when they have to have an internship. And oh, by the way, you need work experience. And then all of a sudden I notice with the vocational kids, it's a lot of the businesses are putting people into the vocational. So some business will even pay for it as long as you agree to work
Right.
a certain amount of time. And I want to touch base on those just three things. And
Yeah, I mean, I think those are three very good categories to talk about. First of all, military, if I find out that the person has a military background, especially recently, that usually is one that goes to the top of the list anyway. Number one, I'm sensitive to that. I think most employers are used to working within a very defined space of life, and how they think, talk, work, everything else. And so, yeah, there's some really good things about that. I have a tendency to want to look at the trade schools more than I do college. Again, it really depends on the position, but I find that the trade schools are usually really good to do. I think that a lot of times your trade schools, a lot of times your military people, they're more coachable. They're more open to learning new things. Like I said, most of the time, when an employee comes here, I gotta train them anyway. So, sometimes when they go to college, they're already ingrained a little bit as to what they think or what their expectations are, especially in the realm of pay. They find out when they come into the real world that, whoa, okay, I just spent all this money on this degree, and this is all you're paying me. Well, I have to make a living too. This is what this position pays, and there's a real what college is, but yet they're not ready for it. So I find that a really good place to go, and I think students who are coming out of high school and looking to go to college, they need to take a look at the trades also. Number one, it's cheaper. Two, you don't have to go as long, but you're going to be dealing with a very specific skill that you can use right away when you come out of school. And so that's a really good place. But military should never ever think that because they've been in the military that they can't apply for some of the other jobs. Sales positions, administrative positions. They need to be applying for all of them because they've got some pretty good skills that are important for businesses, and we're looking for really good employees all the time.
Well, I really appreciate that. Like I said, I love input from the small businesses, especially somebody like you's been around forever. I know you and your family all been great. Uh, but if there's anything else you want to add, if not, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But like I said, really appreciate your time and everything else. I know you give out to the community around here, so box for stuff.
Yeah,
You're always helping with something.
Sure.
Of course, you're CrossFit. I see you running up there all the time. A lot of people thinking, no, he's out that old. You're gonna make me feel old, man.
Well, I think if I can conclude on anything, I think that right now the market is really good for jobs. We're looking for people because the job market has a big need, and we're having a hard time finding people to really fit in. That means the pay is going to be a little higher. So now's the time to work. I think if somebody really wants to get a job, they can. They just need to be aware of a few things. That first impression is important. Make sure you can communicate both verbally and everything else, and just look your best, because I think impression makes a big people who are somewhat shy, and they give you the one word answers. It's like, no, I want to know more about what my questions are to get you to talk, and I want to get to know you better. And for some people that's really hard, and just try to put yourself out there, and especially for the military who are coming back, go for it big, because we, employers like myself, we really respect military. Most of us will probably put our military prospects at the higher end. So don't ever sell yourself short.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mike. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time. I know time is the most important thing we got these days, so thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
So.